There's some celebration in order. I have recently reached my 93rd video spectacular milestone, and some of you might be wondering, what's so special about a 93rd video spectacular? Well, as far as I'm aware, this is the first 93rd video spectacular, and it probably will not be the last. Just wait 100 more videos and we'll have a 193rd video spectacular. If we go that far. So today, for my 93rd video spectacular, we are going to be taking a look at the influences on what or who made me gay. There's that question like floating around whether or not sexuality is inherent or it's something that you learn from like outside sources, and I would definitely say that it's like a mix of both. Sexuality is ingrained into your DNA, but it's like the outside sources that can help you explore your sexuality, and usually you don't know that what you're feeling is different from the norm until you start talking to other people about it. That's probably around like middle school or like high school age. And so I'm just gonna share with you some of the outside influences that may or may not have led to me discovering that I was a homosexual. First up here we have C Jr. from Thomas and the Magic Railroad. I think what really did this for me was the fact, he has an accent, and he's blonde, and he's just very, he's cool, or at least as cool as a 2000s movie character based off of a children's property from the early 80s can be. I don't know, there's something, I just have a weird, like, affinity for men with accents, men with dialects, foreign men, blonde foreign men, and I think it started here with C Jr. Next up is definitely Indiana Jones. There's something about 80s action movies that are just totally out of this world, totally different in terms of how they portrayed the sexuality or like the sexual provocativeness of their main characters. I would definitely say Indiana Jones is one of the more conservative when it comes to this, like if like talking about the Terminator with like but like especially when Indy goes and talks with Marion in the first movie, the fact that they like have a past and like Marion is just like, oh Indy, you've changed. The fact that he's a changed man, but she like wants to go change him back. Indy's like a project. You want to fix Indy and make him be a better husband and settle down and be with you forever and not leave you on some weird testosterone-filled adventure. But unpopular opinion, Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. You cannot change my mind. Next is Mrs. Slocum from Are You Being Served, the British sitcom. This might seem like an outlier because, ooh, she's a woman and you're gay, you don't like that. Well, here's the reason. She is so obviously a gay icon. I used to watch a lot of PBS back in the day, and this would air on PBS like in the evenings. They aired like a whole like British block of sitcoms, and some of the funniest jokes that I knew from Mrs. Slocum were her talking about her pussy or her cat. Also, the fact that her hair changed almost every episode was kind of cool. And there was also, like, a coded gay character in the show. I forget what it... Mr. Humphries. Mr. Humphries was a lot of people's first recognition of a gay man on TV. I've read a lot of forums where people didn't really know what this kind of, like, campy behavior was until they went and, like, looked it up for themselves, and they found out that he was, in fact, a closeted gay actor. And I think that's kind of cool, especially for that kind of representation to happen on TV as early as, like, the late 1970s, early 80s. British TV, at that, British TV has always been just a tad more progressive than United States TV. Next up, Titanic. I also watched Titanic at an early age, and one of the steamier scenes between Jack and Rose made me want to see more of Leonardo DiCaprio than what the movie was showing us. Damn you, James Cameron. Could you just not have panned down just a little bit further? But looking at, like, the one drawing that of Rose and with her hanging out made me realize that, like, that's not doing much for me. But seeing, like, the naked torso of Leonardo DiCaprio just really got my blood pumping for whatever reason. Another one, and one of probably, like, the later influences that I had was James Dean. There was just something about, like, his unabashed, like, sexuality and, like, pictures like this or like this that like certainly just got me going in some kind of way. It made me realize that, yeah, maybe I am into men. And as much as I hate to say it because it's kind of a contentious thing right now, the entirety of Glee, I watched Glee up until like the last episode of the 3rd season. I haven't touched anything else. But seeing that kind of gay representation at a time in my life where I was just discovering my sexuality and seeing like what kind of options were out there really helped me realize that, yeah, I am like a couple of these characters on this show. And maybe I should start owning that. And then back into the closet I went. Oops. And that's that. On that. Another influence is Back to the Future, specifically the one scene where Marty meets his mom for the first time and she sees his Calvin Kleins. Upon first watch of that movie, I immediately rewinded and rewound it a few times. Oh man. Looking back now, how is that not obvious? Another one would have to definitely be Toby Maguire as Spider-Man. That was one of the first superhero movies that I ever remember watching, and I just found myself wanting to be in MJ's place. And I always thought that maybe I wanted to just be Spider-Man, but like, maybe I just want to be with Spider-Man. Lastly, and probably the most telling of all of these, was the fact that after I saw Wicked for the first time in 2009, I went and saw a Broadway show at the Orpheum Theater in Omaha almost every year after, and I would buy the soundtrack and listen to them ad nauseum. However, I decided I'm just like, nah, I just like it because it's catchy. It's catchy music that people like. And then I decided to major in it. I think that's going to do it for this video. I just want to thank you all for 93 videos. Time flies when you're in financial dire straits and you need a creative outlet. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit the like button or even the subscription bell. It'd be really cool to see you again. I love it. If you'd come back, it'd be cool. Alright, this is Dustin signing off, but only for now.